The photographer had been apologetic but firm. "I'm sorry, Ms. Adelaide, but the family has requested formal photos without you. Something about keeping the portrait balanced since you don't have a date." I stood in the hallway of the Riverside estate, watching through the doorway as my brother Thomas posed with his new wife Victoria and their wedding party. Mom and Dad flanked them, beaming. Victoria's parents stood proudly on the other side. Everyone coupled up, everyone paired off, everyone belonging. Everyone except me. "It's not personal," Thomas had said that morning, not meeting my eyes. "Victoria just has a very specific vision for the wedding photos. You understand." What I understood was that I'd been positioned as the family embarrassment for the last 6 months. The 32-year-old sister who was perpetually single, perpetually absent, perpetually unable to explain what she actually did for work. "Adelaide travels a lot," was how Mom introduced me to Victoria's family at the engagement party. The subtext was clear: aimless wandering, no real career, no real prospects. "She's never in one place long enough to meet anyone," Victoria had added with false sympathy. "Must be so lonely." They'd assigned me a single seat at table 12. Not with family. Not even close. I was surrounded by Thomas's work acquaintances from his accounting firm, pleasant enough people who made polite small talk about tax codes and quarterly projections while I pushed salmon around my plate. "So what do you do, Adelaide?" asked Martin, a senior auditor with kind eyes. "I work in international relations," I said simply. "Oh, which company?" "It's more government liaison work. I coordinate diplomatic initiatives." "Sounds fascinating," he said, though his attention had already drifted back to his wife. No one ever asked for details. How could they? I spent half my life signing NDAs and the other half on encrypted calls from hotels in foreign capitals. My work wasn't the kind you posted about on social media or discussed at dinner parties, which made it very easy for my family to decide I was unsuccessful. The reception was in full swing when I noticed the security detail. Subtle, professional, but unmistakable if you knew what to look for. 3 men in dark suits, earpieces visible, positioning themselves at the venue's entrances. My heart rate kicked up. "Oh, he wouldn't. We discussed this. Adelaide." My handler Marcus appeared at my elbow, materializing from the crowd like he always did. "We have a situation." "He's coming, isn't he?" "ETA 7 minutes. He insisted. Said something about enough hiding, and refused to take no for an answer." I pressed my fingers to my temples. "Marcus, this is my brother's wedding." "I'm aware. But you know how he is once he's made up his mind." Marcus's expression softened slightly. "For what it's worth, he's pretty angry about the seating arrangement. And the photos. He may have seen the photographer's social media post about keeping the family portrait balanced." "Oh God." His words were more colorful. Something about teaching them what balance actually means. Through the windows I could see the motorcade approaching. 3 black SUVs, flags flying from the lead vehicle. The Royal Standard of Valdoria, a small but wealthy European nation that most Americans couldn't find on a map. But they were about to learn very quickly. "Ladies and gentlemen," the DJ's voice cut through the music, "we appear to have some unexpected guests arriving." The SUVs pulled up to the venue's entrance. The security detail moved with precision, forming a perimeter. Thomas had gone pale. Victoria looked confused. Mom's champagne glass was frozen halfway to her lips. The rear door of the middle SUV opened. Crown Prince Alexander of Valdoria stepped out, and even from inside the ballroom his presence commanded attention. 6'2", impeccably tailored navy suit, the kind of natural authority that came from centuries of breeding and a lifetime of preparation to rule. He was also technically my boyfriend, though that term felt absurdly inadequate for a relationship that had spanned 4 years and 3 continents. "What's happening?" Victoria gripped Thomas's arm. "Why are there flags? Are those diplomatic plates?" The venue coordinator rushed to the entrance, clearly panicking. Alexander's personal secretary, a formidable woman named Isabel, intercepted her with practiced ease. Alexander walked into the ballroom like he owned it. His security detail flanked him, but he dismissed them with a subtle gesture, preferring to walk alone. His eyes scanned the room until they found me at table 12. His expression softened into a smile that I'd seen across negotiating tables in Geneva, at state dinners in Brussels, in quiet moments in hotel rooms when the world thought he was somewhere else entirely. Adelaide, he said, his accent making my name sound musical. He'd reached my table, completely ignoring everyone else in the ballroom. I apologize for my tardiness. The UN Security Council meeting ran long. He kissed my hand, a formal gesture that somehow felt intimate. Then he noticed my isolated position at table 12, the empty space beside me that had been marked no +1 required. His jaw tightened. Your Highness, I said quietly, you didn't need to come. I did actually. He looked around the ballroom, taking in my family's shocked faces, the scattered wedding guests, the photographer who'd excluded me from the formal portraits. It seems there's been some confusion about your circumstances. Alexander. Who is that? Victoria hissed to Thomas, loud enough to carry. Why is he calling her Adelaide like that? And why did that woman say Your Highness? Alexander turned toward the head table. You must be Thomas. Adelaide has told me about you. The way he said it suggested what she told him wasn't entirely flattering. Congratulations on your marriage. He extended his hand. Thomas shook it automatically, looking dazed. And you're Victoria. Lovely wedding. Though I notice Adelaide wasn't included in your formal photographs. His smile didn't reach his eyes. An interesting choice. She didn't have a date, Victoria stammered. She has a date, Alexander corrected smoothly. She's had one for 4 years. But Adelaide takes her security commitments seriously, which includes not announcing her personal relationships publicly. Unfortunately, that discretion has apparently been mistaken for availability. Mom had found her voice. I'm sorry, who exactly are you? Alexander's security chief materialized with a leather portfolio. Crown Prince Alexander Edouard Philippe of Valdoria. Heir apparent to the Valdorian throne. Current chair of the European Council on Economic Development. Special envoy to the United Nations. He handed Mom a card embossed with the royal seal. And Adelaide's partner since we met at the G20 summit in Rome. The silence was absolute. Adelaide, Dad said faintly, you're dating a prince? Crown Prince, Isabel corrected helpfully. There's a distinction. I work as his senior diplomatic advisor, I said, finally finding my voice. It's why I travel constantly. Why I can't always explain where I am or what I'm doing. Most of my work is classified or diplomatically sensitive. Alexander pulled out my chair. Hey, I stood, and he immediately positioned himself beside me, his hand resting lightly on my back. A possessive gesture that made my relationship status abundantly clear to everyone watching. Adelaide coordinates Valdoria's foreign policy initiatives, he continued, addressing the room like he was at a press conference. She's negotiated trade agreements with 17 nations. She's advised on humanitarian crises across 4 continents. Last month, she mediated a border dispute that prevented an armed conflict. Thomas's mouth was hanging open. Victoria looked like she might faint. Her work has saved lives, Alexander said, his voice hardening. She's one of the most effective diplomats in Europe. World leaders seek her counsel. The UN Secretary-General has her on speed dial. And yet somehow she wasn't important enough to include in your family photographs. We didn't know, Mom whispered. You didn't ask, I said quietly. For 4 years I've tried to explain what I do. You decided international relations meant I was an unemployed wanderer. You decided my travel meant I was running from commitment rather than running toward purpose. Alexander's hand tightened slightly on my back, supportive. Adelaide has kept our relationship private at my request. The Crown Prince of Valdoria dating is international news. We wanted to build something real before facing that scrutiny. But I've grown tired of watching the woman I love being treated as an afterthought by people who should know better. The woman you love? Victoria repeated faintly. Alexander reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. My heart stopped. Alexander, don't. I had planned something more private, he said, opening the box to reveal a ring that made several women in the vicinity gasp. An emerald-cut sapphire surrounded by diamonds, the kind of ring that belonged in museums. But I find I'm done hiding. Done pretending. Done allowing the people who should champion you to dismiss you instead. He took my hand. Adelaide Margaret Harrison, You are the most brilliant, compassionate, infuriating woman I've ever known. You've taught me more about diplomacy in 4 years than I learned in a lifetime of royal training. You make me want to be a better leader, a better man, a better human being. Your Highness, his security chief said urgently, perhaps we should. Let them take photos, Alexander interrupted, never breaking eye contact with me. Let the whole world see. I'm done hiding how I feel about you. I could hear phones clicking, capturing the moment. This would be international news within minutes. Crown Prince Alexander of Valdoria, proposing at an American wedding to his secret advisor girlfriend. The tabloids would go insane. You're sure? I whispered. I've never been more sure of anything. He smiled. Besides, someone needs to show your family what balanced actually looks like. And Adelaide, you've always brought balance to my life. That's the worst proposal reasoning I've ever heard from a royal. Is that a yes? I looked at the ring, then at him, then at my family's shocked faces. At Thomas, who'd excluded me from photos. At Victoria, who'd pitted my supposed loneliness. At Mom, who'd declared no +1 for the lonely sister. Yes, I said. But we're going to have a very long conversation about appropriate venues for proposals. He slipped the ring on my finger. A perfect fit because of course he'd planned this, and kissed me properly, thoroughly in front of 300 guests and his entire security detail. The ballroom erupted in applause. Confused applause since half the guests still didn't fully understand what was happening, but applause nonetheless. Alexander pulled back, his forehead resting against mine. Your mother looks like she's going to faint. Your father's going to kill you. This wasn't protocol. My father will be delighted I'm finally settling down. He's been hinting at grandchildren for years. We've been dating for 4 years. Yes, but secretly. Secret relationships don't produce succession-securing heirs. He grinned. Though now that we're public, I should probably introduce you to him properly. State dinner? Next month? Very formal, very boring, you'll hate it. I've attended 47 state dinners. I think I can handle one more. Ah, but this one you'll attend as my fiancé. Future princess. That's different. Victoria was crying hard, loud, messy sobs. Thomas tried to comfort her but kept staring at me like I'd suddenly grown wings. Mom walked toward me slowly. Adelaide, you're marrying a prince? Crown Prince, Isabel corrected, holding a tablet. Dad looked shocked. Why didn't you tell us? I tried, I said. You never wanted to listen. Every time I mentioned my job you brushed it off. Every time I missed an event for work you said I was avoiding the family. You never asked what my life was actually like. Alexander squeezed my hand. Adelaide has given everything to her work. Holidays, birthdays, family time. She's helped stop wars. She's organized refugee relief, saved lives, earned medals. She's extraordinary. Thomas frowned. But you never said. I signed NDAs. A lot of what I do is classified. But you could have asked about what I could share. Victoria wiped her ruined makeup. I called you lonely. I pitied you. You did, I said. Meanwhile, I was helping Alexander prepare his UN speech and planning our trip to the French Riviera. Alexander's security approached. Your Highness, the press found the photos. It's global now. Fine, he said. Release a statement that we're engaged. He turned to my family. I'm sorry for interrupting your wedding. But I won't apologize for showing how important Adelaide is. I think we should leave, I whispered. No, Victoria said weakly. This is your day now. She gave a shaky laugh. I married an accountant. You're marrying a crown prince. Both are good men, I said. And both marriages matter. I turned to Alexander. Are you sure about going public? It changes everything. Everything worth having requires change, he said. I'm done hiding. You're the woman I love. The photographer approached. Would the crown prince like to be in family photos? Alexander smiled. Adelaide goes first. She's the family. So we took photos. My stunned family beside a crown prince, his hand warm in mine. Your parents look terrified, he murmured. They just realized their daughter outranks them now, I whispered back. He smirked. You already did diplomatically. The reception buzzed with whispers and googling. Guests stared. Victoria's friends looked at me like they were seeing me for the first time. Later Mom grabbed my arm. Adelaide, I'm sorry. I should have listened. Should have trusted you. You should have, I said softly. But I'm still your daughter. He hugged me. My baby is going to be a princess. Eventually, I said. If I survive royal training. Alexander returned. We should go. Early flight to Geneva. UN Security Council meeting, I explained. Mom blinked. My daughter helps run the world and I never noticed. Not run, I said. Just guide. In the car heading to the private jet I finally exhaled. That was dramatic, I said. You're marrying royalty, he said. Drama comes free. Any regrets? I looked at my ring, at the life ahead of me, at the chaos we'd just caused. No regrets, I said. Though maybe next time, propose somewhere not public? He laughed and kissed me. Where's the fun in that? The world deserves to know the future princess of Valdoria, my Adelaide. My phone buzzed. A text from Thomas. I'm sorry. For everything. You deserved better from your family. Congratulations on your engagement. He seems like he really loves you. I typed back, he does. Enjoy your honeymoon. We'll talk when you're back. Another text, this time from Victoria. For what it's worth, you're going to be a much more interesting in-law than I expected. Please teach me royal protocol so I don't embarrass myself at your wedding. Despite everything, I smiled. Good news. Alexander asked. Just my family realizing I'm not who they thought I was. Good. It's about time. He pulled me closer. Now, about that UN presentation tomorrow. I had some thoughts on the aid distribution framework. And just like that, we were back to work. Back to the partnership that had defined us for 4 years. Back to changing the world, one diplomatic initiative at a time. Except now the whole world knew. And honestly, that felt right. No more hiding. No more being dismissed. No more lonely sister or spare guest. Just me, Alexander, and the future we'd build together. One negotiation, one state dinner, one prevented war at a time. Some people get proposed to on beaches or in fancy restaurants. I got proposed to at my brother's wedding by a crown prince making a point about my worth. It was dramatic, unconventional, and absolutely perfect. Just like everything else in my life that my family had failed to notice.